everyone. My name's Trevor. You're watching Mach 10 Airsoft, and today we're going to take an in-depth look at the VFC's take on the AKS 74U, or as we all know and love it, the Krink. I'm going to talk about everything I've done to it and my build's final form. I'm going to talk about OEM plus upgrades that you can do, and I'm going to show you that in this video. I'm going to tell you how I custom fit literally any single grip I want on this thing. We're definitely going to shoot it some more. Without further ado, let's get into it. What is the Krink? Well, the Krink is a rifle caliber carbine, normally chambered in 5.45 by 39. This one is chambered in 6mm. It's an Airsoft replica. 5.45 by 39 is lighter, faster round that Germany implemented, or the Soviet Union implemented, kind of their answer to the US, Canada's version of 5.56-223. It's a shortened version of the AK-74M. Everything from here up is Krink specific. The hand guards, dust covers are only Krink specific things. Bolt carrier group is chopped down as well. Everything from here back is compatible with your AK-74M. The magazines, the grips, stocks, all of that. The Krink's been around since 1970 through 79 and been beloved around the world ever since. The Krink was made up and thought up because Germany or the Soviet Union wanted something smaller for vehicle work, tanker crews, paratrooper men, some stuff like that. It's seen some special forces work in the Soviet Union, but that's not primarily what this was made for. VFC did an absolute amazing job with cloning this. And honestly, in my opinion, I own 2 AKs from them and they nailed it. I absolutely love this platform and I'm very excited to share it with you. Let's move on over to the bench. I was just saying, yeah, devil's in the details. And VFC definitely knows how to get all the details. VFC's AKs are the most realistic, heavy recoiling, accurate, reliable Airsoft replicas in my collection. Now, there's so many good points to point out to this rifle, and we're going to touch them all. The main thing is that everything is steel, both internally and... Now the bolt is 95% travel. It's not a full travel bolt, but good enough. Correct me if I'm wrong, the bolt should travel about here where the handle should go, but not a deal breaker. Everything is steel in here, everything. The tip of the bolt is aluminum, so a little bit of recoil left on the table there. The fire control group is all steel. Everything is steel. What I think is really cool is they could have done the trigger in so many different ways, but the trigger spring is a woven or braided sprung material, which I think that's really cool. The hop-up system seems to be pretty strong. I don't have an issue hopping .30s. So I'm very excited to field this in the summer. See how far I could stretch its legs. Let's throw this back together and talk about everything I don't like about it, because there's a few things. And then from here, do another simple but sexy build. Still got to talk about the magazine issue and quickly tell you how I modified this Krink to accept all of the AR-15 grips or any grips that you want. What I don't like about the Krink out of the box is, well, the color of the grip. I don't like this. AK specific things, I don't like how my hand rubs really bad on the bottom of the trigger guard. That absolutely sucks after, you know, 400 or 500 rounds with no gloves on. You definitely notice that for sure. I don't like that about the AK. And the safety out of the box was very stiff. My fix for that is literally, guys, just grab the safety lever and bend it, try it, bend it some more, get it to where you could actuate it easily. We're gonna change the grip out to right now to a good option if you don't like the brown. What we got for options there, which would be if you still want to keep it AK specific, anything 74 will fit. So that's a direct bolt-on from VFC's 74M, and that's an absolute vibe. I like the way that looks. But for me, if I had to choose, it's definitely going to be the Bakelite grip. This is not VFC specific. What this is a modified grip from Tokyo Marui. It's a very simple mod you can do to get Bakelite on your VFC. The Tokyo Marui grip comes as you see it. There's a small little, I'm gonna call it a D10. You gotta cut that guy off. The bolt hole won't accept your bolt in the hole. So you gotta drill out that hole to accept the bolt. Once you do that, you'll be able to bolt this directly on to your AK. And we're gonna do that now quickly. But it's a very easy mod to do. And in my opinion, it's one of the nicest grip setups you can do. And of course, the Difrico, you gotta have that. But this is definitely my second choice for sure. Yes, I got it. Boom, there you have it, guys. Now this is definitely some OE upgrades that you can do. The 74M magazine looks great in it. This, and you gotta have the wire stock. The next thing I didn't like out of the box is there's no QD here. You've noticed I've already removed on the stock place for your sling. Just literally pop that guy out of there. Grab your QD mount, cheapo one off Amazon, what have you, and literally, boom. Now we got QD on the stock. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, that's a good looking AK there. Now to finish this build off, you gotta have it suppressed for sure. So we're gonna put a different style suppressor on there. The inner barrel on this, while we're looking at it too, is 250 millimeters, which good size. A little bit different style of suppressor. And there you have it. That's another simple but sexy build, and in my opinion, that looks great. Now, if you wanna go a little further for OEM Plus, we're gonna switch back out the suppressor to what I had on there before. This is a suppressor from Raven Evolution, and it's a baffled suppressor. Each individual section can be screwed, filled with foam, and shortened to lengthen to what you desire. It's a cheaper alternative. It's really strong 3D print. Looks good. Raven Evolution is where you want to go to check out really good 3D printed suppressors, excuse me. The suppressor I like on it for sure is definitely the Maxim Defense suppressor. It's a 5.56 suppressor, but you can definitely put that on the Krink for sure. Well, some of my paint come off, but that's okay. Now to change out the stock on these is incredibly easy. Just gotta get your dust cover open, disassemble your bolt carrier group, get your bolt out of there, and flip this guy upside down, and just punch that pin out. It punches from the bottom up. There we go. Boom. 74M stock, direct pin in. So you just punch the pin in from the top down. It only goes one way, guys, so if it doesn't fit, don't force it. And there we go. Other minor issue out of the box was very little stock vibration, I'll call it. You just hear that steel on steel rattly sound. Quick fix to do that is right here at the end of the trunnion there. I like to use Velcro, felt material. Just cut a small piece off in there, and where the stock meets up to the trunnion, that'll fill that void and clean up that. Then we're gonna move on to the Difrico grip, and then lastly the magazine issue. So that's the biggest issue that I found with this replica. The magazines are compatible, but there's one thing about it. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. You can't beat the wire stock, but that's a close second. Definitely like this build. And then for sure you're gonna have to have an optic on this one. Oh, there we go. The optic is a Sig Romeo 5. It's a good clone. And then the optics mount, I went with the 5KU Krink specific mount. And you're off to the races. Let's take a look at installing the Difrico grip. You need to start with the adapter for your Tokyo Marui AKM or your Saga 12. You need the one with the void in the middle. The Difrico comes as you see it. The tang is a little bit longer, about this much. You're gonna wanna put your adapter in, get a flat edge, and mark it from the bottom across the Difrico just for a rough line. Cut that excess off slowly but surely with I use the grinder and a file. Slowly work your way down so it's flush. Once you get it flush, there's gonna be a gap like this that you're gonna see, and where that gap comes from is where this section of the adapter meets up with the Difrico. You're just gonna wanna take out some material so this adapter tucks in there nicely. That's half the battle, and I highly suggest these. These are amazing. Once you get the Difrico fitted where it's fitting nice, everything's flush, once you get that mounted to the gun, you can put any AR-15 grip you choose on this. So we're gonna get into that right now. Once everything's out, get the stud out of here. Bring this stud to the home hardware or Canadian Tire or a bolts place where you get a bolt. You need a long bolt, about 1 inch from the top of the face to the bottom of the bolt. Once you get your bolt, that'll screw into your stud. Okay, boom, that's done. The bolt won't fit through the adapter here, so you're just gonna wanna take a drill that orifice out to accept your bolt. Now, once the bolt's accepted in there, thread it into your stud. Once you figure that out, you're gonna want to mount your adapter onto your replica. Excess bolt sticking out. I marked mine a little high with a paint marker, so I know where to cut. Cut the bolt down. Once the bolt's cut down, you're gonna wanna remove the burrs at the top so you don't damage your adapter. Just grab a file and file this way, pull the burr away, test fit, make sure it fits in there, then you're good to go. You can now put all your favorite AR-15 grips on this thing. Your A2 grip, Magpul grip, boom, any AR-15 grip. But for me, it's gotta be the Difrico. We'll install that quick. We'll move on to magazines. Now your Difrico is installed on your AK-74M, your Krink, Saga 12, all of them. Now we'll move on to the biggest issue of this rifle, magazine issue. Both the 74M magazines work in both the Krink and the 74. Krink's magazine locks up perfectly to the 74M's. Not an issue, it runs good. The issue is, oddly enough, is the 74's mags, the lip where it locks into the replica. Hopefully you can pick this up on camera. Is just to say a little thicker than the lip here versus here. Just to say. So the resolution there is do not take material away from your magazine. The issue was, well, the first time I locked this magazine in the replica, it would not give it back. The fix for the magazine issue, sandpaper 240 grit, and want to roll up your sandpaper so it fits in magazine release paddle is. Open your lip, jam your sandpaper in there, and close that. And keep working this back and forth, you know, 4, 5, 6 times, because every stroke you're doing, you're removing a tiny bit of material, and you don't need to move a lot. Test fit your mag. Hopefully you can get it out. Repeat the process until your magazine is free. Everything's good to go. After you fix those small issues, whether it be the color of the grip for you, if you don't like the wire stock but you still want to stay AK, you fix your magazine issue, you have for sure one of the sickest AKs in the AK family offered on the market right now. And if you were thinking about getting an AK, VFC is definitely the place to go, whether it be the compact version of Krink or you get your full-size 74M, as you can see here on the wall. Both are very good options, high quality. You won't go wrong. At this point in the video, guys, I have 1,000 rounds, probably a little bit more, and I haven't had one issue with it. I have it nut and bolt checked this. I didn't lube it. Right out of the box, just ran it. 1,000 rounds, didn't have an issue. How's the trigger on the AK-74U Krink from VFC? Well, it's an AK trigger. They're pretty gritty. There's no wall. It's just a rolling brake AK trigger, single stage, I do believe. So you roll into it, and the brake off the reset, very good reset. And then the AK trigger is incredibly light. You could definitely run the triggers fast. AKs, they want to run. Once you get the trigger pull and the reset down, you can definitely absolutely lay it down, and do that right now. So without further ado, if you like this content and love the Krink as much as I do, let me know in the comment section which Krink you would build out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on further content. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Trevor. You're watching Mach 10 Airsoft, and we'll see you on the next one.